Thank you for tuning into another CSE listed issuer update. I'm Anil Mall, representing the Canadian Securities Exchange. And today I'm talking to Mike Blady. Mike is the CEO of Basin Uranium Corp. Trades under the symbol NCLR on the CSE. Mike, I appreciate you taking the time today and joining us. I hope you're doing well.
Doing well, Neil. Thanks very much for having me.
Mike, I know we're here to talk about uranium, the company Basin Uranium. But before we jump into the intro, what the company's focus is, I want to get your insight a little bit. You know, we have seen and heard a lot about the transition in North America to clean energy. And right now, I want to get your thoughts on the global uranium demand. What is causing all of this demand right now and interest in uranium?
Well, to look at what's causing the demand right now, you have to look back about 40 years when uranium entered its longest bear market ever seen since they started mining uranium for nuclear bombs in the 40s and 50s. So the market we're in today is predicated on the bear market we've just been through for 40 plus years. So in that time, we haven't kept up with production demand. We haven't kept up with future production demand due to the fact that uranium was very low price in terms of a commodity, and very few companies could make money in it. There was no incentive to explore, no incentive to develop. Permitting has been extremely difficult over the years. And when you go through a bear market that lasts that long, you also lose all your talent pool. So it's very hard to catch up with the supply demand right now because it's been a neglected industry.
You know, I want to echo those thoughts because I've been hearing that quite a bit. And what I noticed is that on your website, you had a recent press release talking about the United States Senate voting to ban the import of enriched uranium coming from Russia. Can we get your thoughts on this?
Sure. The U.S. used to be a self-sufficient uranium producer. Up until about 1980, they were producing as much uranium as they were consuming, which was at that time about 40 million pounds a year. Since then, we've seen their production in the U.S. alone dwindle down to 1 million pounds of uranium a year. So there's a significant deficit. Now, the House ban, or the Senate and House ban on uranium imports from Russia, it's only going to exacerbate this gap here for the United States. So they're working towards passing bills and stimulating the uranium exploration and enrichment space and development space. And we're trying to capitalize on that as a company.
Speaking of that, tell us a little bit about your company. What is the focus other than uranium? Tell us about the region and where you're currently at.
Yeah, so Basin Uranium, we're focused on U.S. production and U.S. development of our uranium assets. We have a diversified portfolio of U.S. assets. We have 2 projects in South Dakota. We have a couple of projects in Wyoming, and we have a project in Utah as well. Our thesis as a company is staying within the shadow of the head frame, which is an old mining term for, look for ore where there's ore been found. All of our projects are located adjacent to or near production or producing assets, production ready or producing assets. And we've tried to set ourselves up for success by taking a de-risked approach to exploration, which means all of our projects have seen a significant amount of investment from previous operators, which allows us to come into a project and feel confident that we're going to have some success in unlocking additional value.
Well said, Mike. So you have, from what I've seen on the website, there was the Cord project in South Dakota, which is the major focus of the company, along with the South Pass in Wyoming, and then you also have the Ray Mesa project in Utah. I know you touched on this a little bit, but Are there any other reasons other than having past producers and mines in your vicinity that makes you and your team so bullish on these regions?
Look, the United States hosts one of the great uranium reserves worldwide. You're not at bonanza grade like you see in Athabasca Basin, but in terms of pounds in the ground, the United States has more than enough uranium to be self-sufficient, as well as to be a net exporter of uranium. So the industry in the U.S. has shifted from conventional style mining of uranium to newer methods that are safer, greener, cleaner, leave a smaller footprint, less capex. So we're focused on looking at in situ recovery and evaluating historic deposits and looking at them through a new lens to see if they are in fact ISR amenable and capitalizing on that aspect.
Mike, I noticed that you had announced earlier in May that there's going to be a drill program on the Cord project in South Dakota. You want to maybe give us a little bit on what you and your team anticipate there?
Yeah, so we've been working very hard on Cord the last 12 months. We've been locked in the back room, digitizing, scanning maps, building our geologic database, and working on a 43101 inferred resource for Cord. So drilling the Cord is the next logical step to hopefully significantly grow that resource and unlock the true potential of Cord. Our neighbors to the southwest, Encore Energy, their Dewey Burdock project is one of their next projects in their pipeline for development. So we're trying to work in lockstep as Encore advances. We're trying to follow in their footsteps and create value that way.
Got it. How did you get into this space, Mike? Can you talk to us a little bit about your background?
So my background, I've been in the capital markets since about 2010. Originally got into the capital markets working for a securities lawyer as a assistant. And from there, I ended up going back to university, getting a geology degree and started an exploration services business. That business, my partner and I, we ended up selling in 2021. And then I started looking for the next big commodity bull market and what commodity that would be. And at that time, uranium was still less than sub $30. So one of my fondest memories of small bull market uranium was 2006, 2007, when uranium fever swept the not only the public market, but the broader market. And, there was some contagion, I guess, in uranium. So, I knew it had to return at some point, and, we're off to a good start right now. And I think this is shaping up to be a very sustained long-term bull market when you look at all the fundamentals that are backing the uranium spot price.
Mike, the success of any company depends on the team that you surround yourself with. Are there any key notable team members that you want to mention?
Yeah, so we've been working diligently to establish our U.S. team. So we recently put out a press release. We established a advisory board, a technical committee, and we've constituted the first two members of that committee. So Mr. Dan McCarn and John Glasscock have joined our team and been working with us for some time in a consulting capacity. They both bring a wealth of U.S. and global uranium experience, and more particularly in situ recovery, methodology, permitting, geochemistry, things that are really important for us to properly evaluate our projects that not only we do have, but we will acquire in the future, and assess their amenability to in situ recovery methods.
Mike, what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about 2024. The company has had a lot of news. You want to maybe summarize some of the milestones in 2024 that you've already met in the first quarter, and maybe talk to us about some milestones our viewers can look out for from you and your team in the coming months.
Sure. Yeah. So when I joined Basin Uranium, the first 18 months of my tenure here was really kind of putting the company in a new direction, right? So acquiring assets, finding data, purchasing data, whether it be through public or private sources, and establishing the company to have a portfolio was something that it could grow, develop, raise money on. And finally, we're getting to the point where the hard work enough hard work has been done in the office to get out and start marketing the deal, talking about the deal, and talking about what we're going to be doing moving forward. So in 2024, we've staked some additional claims in the company. We've also been able to start permitting processes for both Wyoming and South Dakota. And we have released a 43-101 inferred resource report on the core project. Now, moving forward, we're going to continue to pick up more projects. We're going to continue to permit our projects, and we're going to ultimately culminate all that work in exploration drilling.
We always encourage our audience to go to your website, do their due diligence, sign up for your press release, and of course, reach out to you and your team should they have questions and have an interest in it. Where would you like to direct our viewers at this time?
basinuranium.ca, or you can email at us at info@basinuranium.ca.
To everybody watching and listening, you've been hearing from Mr. Mike Blady. Mike is the CEO of Basin Uranium Corp. Once again, it's NCLR on the CSE. Mike, like I mentioned, we have our team at the CSE wishes you and your team at Basin nothing but success as you move forward on these projects. To everybody watching, please reach out to Mike should you have questions. Go to their website, sign up for their press releases. Mike, once again, thank you for joining us today and educating not only me a little bit on the global uranium market and demand, but our audience as well. And again, thank you.
Thank you, and thanks to the CSE for all the support over the years.